Hey, how's it going, everyone? Justin again. As always, thanks for watching my channel. Welcome back. Today I thought I'd do a little video review for you of the longevity that I've had with Mac tools, my thoughts and opinions about them. I appreciate every single one of you watching. If you like today's video, make sure to smash a thumbs up, share if you want to share. Let's go ahead and dive right down into it. So about 10 years ago when I started off my automotive career at Sears Auto Center, one of the first things that I did pick up from Mac Tools was their Tamper Torx bit set. Now this Tamper Torx bit set has served me more than what it's actually designed for, okay? So Tamper Torx. Tamper Torx has a hollowed out hole with the 6-bit star on it, right? I've used these in Torx bit situations because I didn't always have the right size at the right time. I've put these underneath the gun. I've put them underneath the hard-handled ratchet, a long leveraged one. They seem to hold up. I haven't had really any issues. Now when Dan came out and we got a closer look at the RBRT, there was a phenomenal difference between the two, right? One of the kits that I had bought and outside of that was the brake caliper slider pin set that you can buy from Mac Tools. I forget how many pieces. I don't have the blow molded case anymore, but it gave you a series of not only Allens, but they also gave you their actual Torx bit. The Torx bit that we did the review on his demo block obviously did not work out very well, and he had called it as it just being tired because it was 10 years old. Now I hadn't really had any issues with us leading up to the RBRT because it just seemed to fit, it seemed to work for me. But, you know, maybe that is worn out, don't know. I can tell you that I was pretty impressed by the RBRT overall, and I was extremely thankful that when we got done, Dan actually asked me which set I would like to own. And of course, because I work on a lot of Europeans and American cars that have Torx bits, I had to go with the Torx bit set. I've been thoroughly enjoying them. At some point in time, I will do a review on them over time, but as of right now, we're doing a review of the 10 years worth of tools that I've had from Mac Tools. So going into pliers, cutters, etc., one of the other ones that I picked up right away was a set of dikes or wire cutters. Now I've had these for about 10 years. You can see I even have my name engraved on the back side of them because tools ended up growing feet and walking away, so we ended up engraving everything that we had. You can get a little tiny engraver from like Lowe's, from the Craftsman area. You can even buy a Dremel tool from Home Depot made by Dremel, and they work out just the same, and you can put your name on if that's what you want to do. Works out a lot better than a piece of tape and a permanent marker, am I right? But at any rate, nothing but good experiences with this set of wire cutters. And moving forward in that, the ones from 2 years ago that I picked up from Harley Adam, also made by Mac, have the same amount of slop, the same amount of cutting capability. Neither one of them were worn out. There was a lot of similarity between these ones and the Doyle ones that we saw over at Harbor Freight, which I can appreciate because they all seem to be about the same, right? I thoroughly enjoy and love the tools that I have here to showcase to you today. I did have the Doyles and I did use them, and I didn't really see any difference overall. I think you guys know that by now. Going into the next set here is going to be the slip joint pliers. Okay, so I've had this little red set here for also about 10 years. It was another product that I picked up from the Mac Tools truck, which has worked out very well, especially when it comes to the little tiny compression clamps going towards your vacuum lines, coolant lines, and even going towards the brake booster, right? It just seems to keep on working. I love the size of it because it gets into tight areas. A lot of the times when you're working on Honda and you got to get underneath that intake manifold to disconnect that hose, these are your best friend. Now they also make a bigger style of the slip joint pliers, which also work out really well for radiator clamps. The same thing, the compression clamps. I like these as well. These have also helped me out and served me well over the last 2 years, so I have really no complaints and they haven't worn out. Going over to the channel lock style, or tongue and groove, whatever you want to call it, I can tell you that I've also thoroughly enjoyed having these. I have no issues with the teeth. The teeth stay sharp, and I haven't had any problems with the adjustment capabilities. So got to give that 2 thumbs up. One of my most favorite set of needle nose pliers actually comes from Mac Tools because it has a long reach head design, crimper, wire stripper, wire cutter, short handle. This is important when you're working on an interior, okay, because you got to get up underneath the dash sometimes. You don't want this super long handle because you're already upside down as it is. It has a little tiny crimper here, so you can use that for butt connectors and so forth. And I believe the two different styles of wire strippers here, if I had to guess, I would say 18 and 16 gauge wire. So that's actually a pretty cool feature. The teeth have not worn out on me. I love using the teeth on these for pulling out fuses, because fuses can be really small in tight quarters. And I also use these sometimes for compression clamps on small vacuum lines. But thoroughly enjoy that pair. Now I know these 45-degree angle pliers that I picked up from Mac Tools some 10 years ago are basically a rebranded Knipex product. I get it. I also have a straight needle nose plier set from Macco Tools. It's also rebranded Knipex, but let's go over to Knipex for a little bit, okay? Get away from the rebranding side. Basically, these being a Knipex function, you have the wire cutter, you have the 45, and you have the teeth. I've used these for cotter pins, I've used them for fuses, I've used them to cut wire, and again, after 10 years, I've had no issue whatsoever with them. So, kudos to Knipex, right? Getting into their carbide bits. Now you'll see here I have dual flutes and single flutes when it comes to the carbide bits. These work out really well for certain brackets, or like I've had some engine mounts that the holes don't line up in that I've used these on, which are made for steel and cast iron, the double flute. The single flute made more for aluminum. There's certain times when you run into aluminum situations, like on an intake manifold, a new one that you get, where again they don't line up. Now I don't recommend doing this to every single one. You really got to know what you're doing when you get into that kind of stuff, but you can alter it for it to fit, okay? And other brackets as well. The products that I've owned for about a decade have seemed to hold up well. The products that I've bought a couple of years ago are still holding up well. And realistically, I think that I can say a lot of negative things about certain items from Macco, certain items from Snap-on, certain items from Cornwell. But if I had to pick two tool companies that I really haven't had any issues with, I would say it would be Gear Wrench, and I would say it would be Mac Tools. That's the God's honest truth. I've tried out a lot of cheap products over the time, and this is what my overall result is so far. So I hope that we'll spend some more time with the RBRT. Maybe I can showcase it in a couple of situations that I've used it, and I'll let you know more feedback down the road as far as like, will it wear out or will it still hold up over the decade as these tool products have. That's all I got for this video, guys. Thanks as always for watching. Make sure to smash the thumbs up button if you enjoyed today's content. Share if you want to share, and we'll see you next time. Cheers and deuces.